All right, it's 2 minutes after 1. I think let's get started. Thank you again for joining the call. Hi everyone, I'm Alex. I'm the product manager at Daily Point and also a longtime hotel nerd. And with me is the equally nerdy, but way more charming, Martin. Hi, Martin.
Thank you, Alex. Flattery gets you everywhere, so to speak. Hi, everyone. Happy to co-host Alex today on the session. Also at Daily Point, I'm in the business development and taking care of the international business development. I think, like Alex, I've spent pretty much my entire life within the hospitality industry. Both on the hotel side, but also on the technology side, which is today. I think what always fascinated me most about our industry is the core of our business, right? Making people feel welcome, comfortable, and cared for. I've always been very intrigued by how we can truly recognize our guests. And to me, in our business, it's about creating a sense of belonging, helping guests feel connected to a hotel or a hotel group. And not only that they return, but also become loyal advocates for the brand. And I think today, with our topic, we're diving into the world of loyalty programs. I think recognition and becoming part of your hotel group, I think that is a big part of loyalty programs. So you're attending today. So if you ever felt that your loyalty program, or perhaps others that you've seen, is a little bit uninspired, so to say, then I think you're not alone. And I think in today's session, Alex and I, we've got you covered.
Exactly. So in the next 30 minutes, we'll show you how the best hotels, from giants like Marriott to even like boutique independents, how they turn psychology into a profit engine, actually, with the loyalty programs. All right. So so we talked about us. But to begin with, I mean, maybe we need to see where we start from. And today, like with the traditional loyalty programs, or where the traditional loyalty programs often fall flat, is that we live in an age of loyalty overload sometimes, and more guests are joining programs, but fewer are actually loyal. And so this is what we see, that it's often you have like big member bases in some programs, but then you have low engagement. This happens way too often. And what's really remarkable, some research shows that, or some studies show that only about a quarter of guests actually enroll in loyalty programs. But then on the other hand, the hoteliers or loyalty managers actually believe that's almost like 2/3, so more than 60% that are. So you see there's a big gap here, actually. What do you think, Martin?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we want to be treated as a guest like spreadsheets, right? Like numbers. I think we want to feel like insiders, like VIPs. Let's say that just the 500 points doesn't really spark a lot of joy, right? And as you mentioned, most hoteliers overestimate the loyalty enrollment by more than double. Which how we think as hoteliers think that we're engaging with guests, but in fact, we might not be. Even when the guest does sign up, many of them don't really feel emotionally connected to the brand. And that's purely because the old systems, or how we started with the loyalty programs back in the day, it was focused on transactions, right? The number of stays, the points earned, rather than how the guest identifies with the brand, or how memorable the experience was. I think if we really want to create loyalty, we need to move beyond the rewarding repeat bookings. I think we need to really get into, or tap into, that personalization, into emotions and guest identity, what makes them feel seen and recognized. And I think that will actually bring us to the next level. Back to you, Alex.
Right. Yeah, and like when we did our homework preparing this workshop, we actually saw that everything really boils down to 6 psychological triggers that can be used to drive a successful loyalty program. And here are the 6 triggers that you can actually use. So one is the goal gradient effect. This is basically where people accelerate their effort as they get closer to a goal. And probably you can also relate to this, like when you, I don't know, like if you're into sports, when you run a marathon or if you like soccer or something like that. So the closer you get to the end, to the finish line, the more effort you put probably in. It's the same. This is also a trigger that you can use for the loyalty program. We will show you some practical examples also. Another one is the endowed progress. So this is actually where you giving guests a head start to increase their commitment. And this is maybe also something you can relate to, like when you give a piggy bank to a kid. It's more fun for the kid if you already put a few bucks in instead of just handing an empty piggy bank to them. So this is also something that you can use to drive some enrollments for your loyalty program. We will look at this also. And then, of course, there's also the loss aversion. And this is something really, I think, also everyone can relate to. So it's, when you don't have something, it's you don't necessarily have that inner drive to get it. But if you already have something and you're about to lose it, this is something where sometimes it's something you really want to avoid to do. And this is when you have already a certain loyalty status in the program, you usually want to maintain this level instead of losing it. So this is also something that you can really use in the loyalty program. And number 4 would be surprise and delight. So it's as Martin already outlined also. So it's not only like numbers, but also some emotion. And as we say, like small gifts also maintain the friendship. And this is also where you can, like with unexpected rewards or some little gifts, you can also drive more results in your loyalty program. And then there's the psychological ownership also. When we feel that we have a stake in something, this is also what drives loyalty also. So when you let your members also make decisions in the loyalty program, this is also where they feel more related, and it's where they feel more loyal to your program and to your brand also. And the last one is the exclusivity and social proof. So this is also something that's what I also mentioned in number 3 is this, like to achieve something, to belong to an exclusive group. This is really something people want to achieve, or not everyone, but a lot of people want to do this, want to be in the fast lane, maybe at check-in and so on. So this is also something, this psychological trigger is also something that you can use in your loyalty program. So if you don't take anything away today from this webinar, but those 3 psychological triggers is really where everything boils down to, and this is what you can really use and utilize to drive your loyalty program, or to drive a successful loyalty program. Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, I agree. I think I can make 6 examples, or actually I can get a lot more examples, but I can relate them to the 6 triggers that you have there. I think the biggest one that I have, or that comes to mind, which still bothers me a little bit, is actually the one of loss aversion, but then one that was not really well managed. The principle of loss aversion is that you motivate me to take action by showing what I could lose. Good use may sound like to keep your VIP access, just stay 2 more nights this year. That would drive me actually to stay with you because I don't want to lose all those benefits that I've earned. Once you're in a certain level, you want to remain there. Now, what happened to me, Alex, is that I used to be a loyal member of actually one of the major hotel brands that is out there. And I stayed with them many times. I actually had a good balance of points. And that was until, and this is quite a bit, and then they kind of lost me as a loyalty member.
Okay.
That was with COVID. And that feels, I know, like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But I will give you the example. There were it's in our business that we go into loyalty solutions, that we sign up and that we become a member of it, and as well we travel a lot. But some of those brands, they actually reached out to me and they say, you know what, we're pausing the points expiry date, or we extend your status. But then this brand, and obviously I'm not going to name it, but they let my points expire, but without a single message, no warning,
Why?
no re-engagement. And I will tell you that I had about 2 nights. And sure, I mean, it's in their terms and conditions, right? If you don't stay, then your points expire. So technically, they were within their rights. But they could have just sent me a small message, right? The points have value. I appreciate them. But then now you touch my emotions because it sounds harsh, but I kind of felt like I was robbed of 2 nights. The simple message that just said, hey, Martin, we miss you. Your 100K points, they will expire within the next 2 months. Can we earn back your loyalty with just one stay? And
Yeah.
I think that, right, just that point, that would have made all the difference. I would have booked that room. So when we think about loyalty, about the points, we also have to think about how I feel, that emotional feelings that I have with the brand. Points are the currency, but psychology is really the engine that drives loyalty. And when we build those programs around the people, why people stay loyal, this is where I really want to go into, is that we unlock deeper relationships, and obviously that should lead to that longer lifetime value.
Right. Yeah, that's a good example. And well, actually, it's a big mistake. Actually, so it's like, I think, everything comes down to good communication also. So without the communication, they lost you as a member. And also they missed a big opportunity, as you said, like to use like the expiring nights or points as a sales factor, actually, where they could say, hey, use those 2 nights, and then maybe you would have booked like 4 nights. It would be an extra sale.
Exactly.
Missed opportunity, and through the lack of communication, also lost a good member. Yeah.
Well, they lost a member and they lost bookings right now, right? So this is yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, so this is all about the theory. We talked about the psychological triggers. Maybe now let's look at some practical examples, how you can actually use them to drive more results within your loyalty program. So, and we took, like, for the first one, we took a good example of Starbucks. So this is not just things that we thought about or something like that. So we really did some research and looked at some successful loyalty programs. And for our first example, we picked Starbucks. And so what Starbucks just doesn't just sell coffee. They sell the feeling of one more star until a reward. This is what they actually do. So what you can do here is, with your loyalty program, like Starbucks does, they use kind of gamification here, and so they use like progress bars to show what is the progress. And this goes back to the psychological factors, like when you get closer to the finish line, and you put in a little bit more effort. And when you only need a few more points or maybe one more night to get maybe a free night or to be able to buy that iPhone or whatever, this is something you can really use. So if you have an app or a member portal, it's good to have a progress bar where they actually can follow their progress. And then it's also good if you have like smaller steps in between, so it's not, like that far away also. Yeah. Is that something you can relate to also, Martin?
Yeah, 100%. I think within our business, within the hotels, we can actually pick that up, right? We rather than saying, one more star until the next coffee, we could use messages like only 2 nights until you unlock your gold status, right? It motivates me. It gives me a reason to come back, and it gives me a reason actually to come back now and not later, because only with those 2 nights I will get to my next level. It still works. We guess, but I think all people respond very well to how do we call it? Proximity. It feels like, well, achievable, right? When something is achievable, we get excited and we want to go into, and that what makes the loyalty loop really work, right? It keeps momentum and going with small timely wins. We go to the next level, which is good for the hotels. And I think when you show this, Alex, I think automation is key, right? You've got to catch that guest at the right moment with the right trigger in place. And then you actually have your static program that starts to become like a dynamic journey.
Yeah.
I think Starbucks mastered that. I think that we within hotels could learn from that and do the same and work with what we call gamification.
Yeah, yeah. And automation is a good keyword also. So this is actually, like when members enroll in a program, often, they enroll and then silence,
Yeah.
but you can actually use it when they enroll. You can set up like automation. You can set up like a welcome series, where it's more fun for them to learn more about the brand, where you can have like multiple emails where you introduce the program's benefits, where you showcase the hotel's portfolio and properties, for example, or maybe already offer a small incentive, for example, 10% off, or maybe a free drink for their next booking. So really, like in the beginning, you already use that momentum when they are enrolling in your program, and to keep them engaged. And then,
Yeah.
we talked about the gamify the process. This is really an important thing. And then, if you maybe still don't have any engagement or communication, this is also where you can also, like with automation, when you see there are no results, where you do the like we miss you or win back flow also, where you trigger certain emails that entice the members to make the next booking or to learn more about your brand. So automation is also like a big
Yeah.
factor here that you can utilize actually.
I agree. There's more, right? We talked about that something that it's achievable, gamification. I think you went through the 6 psychological
Triggers.
items that we could utilize to actually to get to the guest. And then I think the next one is also, and it's very much from this time, right? Because everyone is talking about it. It is personalization, and I think we as hoteliers should be very good at personalization because it's our core business, right? I think at the end of the day, we're all different on this call, but I think that we have surely one thing in common, maybe more, but one is definitely there, and that is that personalization. Whether we are at your hotel or your restaurant, or perhaps you have a coffee bar or a different outlet, it feels really good when we get into your place that someone knows my name or that they remember how I like things, right? That to me, that is service, but on top of that, that is loyalty as well. So that brings
Yeah.
it back to you. I think
Yeah,
Marriott.
it's a perfect transition. Thank you. Exactly. So, as I said, we looked at certain successful loyalty programs, and Marriott had an outstanding campaign actually that they did a few years ago. And so they ran a campaign, and this campaign actually outperformed every promo Marriott ran in that year. And that was because the campaign told the story of the member, and not the story of Marriott. And this is what they did. They ran a campaign or a promotion, your year in review, where they actually um, really showed in that email how many nights they stayed, where they stayed, and so on. So it's really, you feel like it was a good memory, like, oh yeah, so the whole year of traveling, I stayed in this and there. It brings back all the good memories also. So this is why it probably was really that successful, this super hyper personalized promotion. And this creates identity, actually, where the traveler really sees, okay, I belong to this brand. And I can tell you a little bit more facts actually about this. So when I said it really outperformed, just to give you a few numbers, it was actually 86% more revenue than the previous 2 Decembers combined. And then they had almost a 39% jump in revenue in total. I think it was almost like 31% boost in booking. So this is really, I think, really outstanding, tremendous numbers for this campaign.
It is basically what we talk about, right? Or when you and I are talking on our team calls about turning data, where we talk a lot about data, but what we talk about is how can we turn that data into empathy, right? The year in review isn't just showing off to your guests all the nice stats. It's really showing your guests that they matter, that their story is part of your brand story. And that is where the loyalty becomes personal, right? When the guest sees their own journey, the places they've been to, the perks that they've earned, it triggers their identity. It tells them, "Hey, I'm a traveler. I belong here." I think that is powerful. The best part is, we know, because this is what we do, is what we talk about, is that hotels have data. They have lots of data. The opportunity is to present it in a way that is thoughtful, timely, and personal. It's what we call a low cost play with high emotional return. It turns a stay into a story, and that is really what people, what keeps people coming back to your hotel.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, so now a practical tip for you, for the hoteliers, for the loyalty managers, maybe. So I mean, you could actually, this would be really simple to copy, right? So it's just, imagine an email where it's pretty simple, where you say, like, see your 2025 travel year in review. You have that subject line, which already triggers curiosity, because I want to see, oh yeah, what actually happened. And then you see that also with like Spotify and all the other places that are out in the market, or daily things that we use today. They also do this, and you really feel engaged. And then maybe this is also where it's more personalized, where you have like a hero section, where you usually have like this big image, actually. And this is where you would have like more dynamic content, where you would actually maybe use the image of the hotel where the member stayed the most during the year, or maybe the last one, to really can connect actually to that, and really sees their journey throughout the year. And then, as Marriott did, you have like an infographic style body, where you show like all the nights, number of nights that they stayed, and the number of properties that they visited. Maybe the favorite destinations, you name all the favorite destinations. You show like how many points they earned, and so on. It's really like everything that they did and earned during the year. And then in the end, it's really important to have that call to action. It's not just to show them, but actually use then the emotion, where they actually, as I said, like, they are now in good memories of a good year in travel. And then you have the call to action, and go like, hey, and here, by the way, you can book your next stay, and have maybe the button to your booking engine, and ready to make 2026 even more memorable, for example. And then you have the call to action. body. So
Yeah.
this would, like Marriott, this would drive more results, more conversion. Yeah. So
Uh,
here's a practical example.
yeah, good examples of how you can adopt it into to your hotel. Besides the Marriott examples, I think the Spotify was interesting as well because it's something that we can really relate to, even if it's not in a hotel business. Are there any other features within loyalty or topics that could play a big role within the loyalty solution?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to have a successful program, you also need a good number of members, right? So you need a good base that you can work with. And one important thing is to have a good loyalty program where members actually want to be uh, members. And one big thing, shines here, and this data shows that 78% of travelers prefer an immediate rewards over future points. So to drive more enrollments, this is actually where you can really, when you give them an instant perk or instant rewards, this would drive more enrollments. And this means just like simple things like maybe the premium Wi-Fi, maybe a welcome drink, or maybe a late checkout or something like that. Just a little thing where they think, oh, I can get this only by enrolling to this program. Just provide my name and my email, and I become a member, and already I get something. And this is really what we also saw in the 6 psychological triggers here, right? This is where I imagine I mentioned the piggy bank that you give to a child, where you already put in a few bucks, so it's more fun to actually start with it, and so this is really something that drives more enrollments to your loyalty program.
Uh, yeah, I think 78% is enormous, right? I think it's a
Yeah,
huge opportunity that you can have as a hotel. Again, it tells that data is powerful. I think it should be actually a mandate, right, for your loyalty solution to think about that guests really want to benefit at the spot at this moment, not after their 10th stay, not after that they downloaded the app, but really now on day one, as soon as they commit, that right away there's something for them. Now, it's interesting, right? We're not longer in the business of delayed gratification after 10 stays, then I can get something, but really on instant belonging. So make them fall in love basically on their first encounter with your hotel group or a hotel. Um, you got to give them something that makes them pause, that makes them
yeah,
smile and say, "Wow, that was different," and how I know loyalty, right? So I think
yeah,
the idea of that day one delight that really flips the loyalty script. It's making it about now, not the next time.
yeah, exactly. And then there's more. I mean, we talked about, it's not only about like the cold hard numbers and things, but it's also emotion. We need more emotion in the loyalty program also. It's like a love story, and when a guest hears like welcome back, we've got your usual red wine at the bar. That's unforgettable. Like when you really feel like, okay, they know me, I belong here. It's family kind of.
Yeah,
and
that's the
and
great
so
word, right? Unforgettable. Sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead, Alex.
yeah, exactly. And so here are a few examples, just like the surprise, where you can surprise frequent guests with personalized perks. This goes like, you can do this in 2 ways. So one thing is, really just like a surprise, small gift. As we say, small gifts maintain a good friendship, right? And this is the same with the loyalty members. So this would break down to this one psychological trigger that I mentioned earlier. But then there's also the other one, where you can actually, when somebody has stake in something, when they feel like, okay, I can make a decision. So you can also use this instead of like giving in just any surprise based on what you know about the guest. You can also use this, for example, in the pre-stay communication, where you have usually a range of small gifts that you would give to your members. Let them decide which one they want, because maybe sometimes they don't want I don't know, Coca-Cola in their mini bar, but maybe would prefer the orange juice or something like that. Or, it could be anything, like, or if it's a small gift from a local chocolate store, or something like that, just let them decide, give them some choices, and so they feel like they have really a stake in the loyalty program. And yeah,
Yeah.
so this would be one nice thing. But then also, you can also use like the CRM flex, where do something special for their birthday. Maybe give them some extra points for their birthday, but maybe also have some automation where you already sent them, maybe not on the day of their birthday, send them an automated email, but maybe 2 months in advance, and already say happy birthday, which also drives curiosity. When you see that email, like 2 months before your birthday, you go like, oh, did they really get my birthday wrong? And I open that email, and then you maybe mention something that you want to celebrate the birthday with them. Also, this maybe it's not only related to loyalty, but this could be used anyway, but especially in loyalty, this is also something that can be used. But also, you can also use transactions into relationships.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds now we can see a little bit your nerdiness there, Alex. So to say, transactions, data, but it's true, right? I mean, you have the power to create real human moments just by utilizing data and use it in a transactional way, as you say. The surprise and delight isn't just, I think, a nice to have for hotels anymore. It's basically your edge. It creates relationships, and relationships, as we know, that drives long-term revenue at the end of the day. And what I think, in the essence, it is actually what hospitality was always about, right? How I started as well, and what I'm excited about is making people feel welcome, comfortable, and cared for. That is what you can achieve with this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then there's also our fifth point that you can do. This is also not, I mean, you can also do this even if you don't have a loyalty program. However, if you have a loyalty program, it makes it easier to identify the members on your website, because you already have the data. So what you can do is, like, if you can identify somebody on your website and they start a booking process, and then somehow they stop the process. Sometimes, it's just they want to talk to their wife or husband or friends and so on before they actually make the decision for the booking. However, still use that moment, and you could have like an automated, maybe 3-step abandoned cart email automation, for example, where when you identify that, like Martin was on your website, was about to book the next day, and then somehow he stopped, then this could trigger an automation. Maybe you also know this from other retail online shops. When you maybe go to your Nike store and want to buy some new sneakers, and then you abandon your shopping cart, then often it happens that you get some emails that remind you that you still have something in your cart, and they ask you if you want to proceed by doing this. But when you do this, be careful, because often what I saw is that we often get to the point where we offer, like a discount right away to entice them to book. My recommendation would be like if you set up like a 3-step email automation, like the first email that you sent maybe a few minutes or hours after they stopped the process would be more something like a customer service email, where ask them if they have some trouble with the booking, or if you can help. Maybe you can also show like your customer service hotline or reservations number, so that maybe if they didn't feel comfortable with the online booking, so they can call you and make the reservation there. So this is the first email I would recommend you install, just maybe a service character. And if they still don't feel like booking, if you still haven't received any booking, then you can start with something where the focus is more on value and social proof, where you actually do something like your stay at hotel, blah, 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 waits, you stunning property images also, and include some powerful guest testimonials, for example, like the proof where you see, like, show some good ratings from other guests, just to give them the comfort or the trust to book with you. And maybe also like a don't miss out book now, this could also be something. And if they still don't feel like booking, then maybe it's the last resort where you trigger maybe the last automated email, which maybe has to focus a little bit more on urgency, and maybe also an incentive. I would say not always give incentive right away, but maybe have to focus on urgency, and where you tell them that the rooms for the requested dates are already like booking up fast, for example. You know this probably from booking.com and others also, where they show this hotel has been booked like 10 times in the last hour. We only have like 2 rooms remaining. So this also drives some urgency, where you go like, oh, maybe I want to make my reservation before it's too late. So you can also use this, and really as an option, then maybe you also include maybe a 10% discount or something like that also. But this usually, like, if you set it up like in this way, it usually works pretty well to make sure that not like even if they want to book with you, sometimes they just feel they go to your website and then still make a reservation booking.com just because of the language. Maybe they can book in their language or something like that. But if you do something like this automation, you can make sure that they maybe also book with you when you offer also alternative ways than just your online booking. Maybe it could be also the reservation hotline, for example.
Yeah. Well, the goal is to drive them back, right, into
Exactly.
the reservation process. On urgency, because I could talk about this as well, but I think we also have to be time conscious.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's continue to the next one, and then make a short recap, and then perhaps we could do a few questions as well if there's any. Yeah.
Let's do that. All right. So number 6, it's the last one. Last practical tip. We could probably go on, as you said, with more tips. But we had to draw a line somewhere, right? So yeah, the last one is really where you think maybe beyond the room, and where you can also offer some more perks in your hotel, like F&B outlets, for example, where they can benefit, or where members have like some special benefits. But here's also something where you can maybe partner up with some local partners, for example, maybe a museum, for example, where maybe your members get even maybe a tour before the museum actually opens, or maybe even after they close or something like that, like really something, an experience that they usually wouldn't get. So this is like 2 things you could with the extra benefits. This would also drive more members or more guests to enroll into your program, because they really get more benefit that they usually wouldn't get because of your partnership with the local offerings, other restaurants, museums, parks, and so on. And also, like, it really shows your existing members, it shows them really the benefits of your program, and to maintain the membership, and really where they see why they should be members. Yeah. So this is something you can also do.
Yeah, I think choice, because you gave a few choices right now. I think choice is what makes loyalty feel personal, right? And when you or me or the guest, they feel in control, it creates psychological ownership, right? It's not longer our program as a hotel, but it's actually their experience, and that is where the loyalty starts. And as you mentioned, it doesn't have to be really complicated. I think with the right setup, you can offer flexible rewards that fit your different guest profiles, because everyone is different, as mentioned before. You got something for the foodie, you have something for the wellness seeker, you have something for your business traveler. And what I think is very strong is that the slide says think beyond the room, but there's a lot of hotels that only have rooms. So then, how can I still give certain experience? Well, think about those local experiences, right? That is that emotional storytelling that that you talked about, Alex.
Yeah,
And it goes really beyond the room. Yeah, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and then how can you turn your loyalty program into a profit center? So with all the tips that we gave to you today, it's not like start with everything and do everything at once. Maybe just start with a small, or start small. Just like pick one strategy that you saw today and start with that. And in general, I would say, like, stop hiding loyalty behind the front desk. Make it visible everywhere, from the spa to the wine bar to the mini bar, everywhere. It should be everywhere, where you can drive loyalty, where you can drive enrollments. And yeah, and as I said, start small. Just pick one strategy from what we saw today.
yeah.
Try it for a month, and then see how it works. See the results, and then maybe take the next one, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. I fully agree. Don't be overwhelmed, because loyalty is not built overnight. I think it's always good to end up with something that I mentioned before, which I think is important. Points are the currency. We know that it's very transactional. The psychology, difficult word for me to pronounce. Alex, you could have helped me. But
Sorry.
the psychology, my apologies. The psychology, that is really the engine, right? And that drives the loyalty. I think that comes as well within 45 minutes to the end of our session. Basically, if you'd like to discuss this more, have some feedback, or want to brainstorm, then obviously you can connect both to Alex and to me. We can connect on LinkedIn. You could connect to our corporate side from Daily Point on LinkedIn as well. And we it's kind of like a hobby of us as well. So we'll be keen to actually get into discussion and talk about your loyalty, and how what we think about it, what you think about it, and how we can make something to take those first steps.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a good point. I mean, we regularly share some white papers and some tips and tricks for loyalty, not only loyalty, but all, like, data management and customer relationship in general. But just recently, we shared a few white papers on loyalty. So if you want to follow us and you can make sure that you get more tips, more practical tips. This is really important to us always, that we just don't put something hypothetical out there, but really practical tips. We also see what our clients do. We also see what other programs and what strategies work in the market, and we are happy to share this with you. So in the end, you don't have to do all the research. We do it for you. If you want to follow us, you get for sure more input. All right. Well then, thank you everyone for joining the call. We hope to see you in our next one. If you subscribe to our newsletter, we always keep you posted what the next webinars will be about, and when they are. All right. Well, again, thank you very much for joining the call. Hope we see you soon.
Okay. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.